of June 6, 2023. If we could all rise for the pledge to the flag. And Rick Davin, could you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everyone could please remain standing for a moment of silence. Please keep in your thoughts and prayers all of our first responders and all of our fire and police and all of our EMS, and also for the bravest men and women who serve our country on a daily basis to keep our freedoms free. And Luciana, I think you'd like to say something about your friend that passed away.
Oh, thank you. Please keep your my friend Adina Azarin in your thoughts and prayers. She lost her life with her 2-year-old daughter.
That was in that horrible plane crash?
Yes, over D.C.
Over D.C.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Amen. Okay, from my right, introductions.
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Councilman Ed Lachterman.
Supervisor Tom Diana.
Councilman Sergio Esposito.
Councilwoman Luciana Howitt.
Councilwoman Mary Capoccia.
Highway Superintendent Dave Paganelli.
Adam Rodriguez, Town Attorney.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We have some items that happened over this past week. We had our Pride Day, which seemed to be a big success, seemed to be well attended, and we were happy to have it. Also, Freedom Gardens had their yearly barbecue, which is always fun to go to. Meet a lot of nice people there. And I want to put a big congratulations out to Joshua Henkin and William Henkin, 2 brothers that received their Eagle Scouts awards this past weekend. The one thing that I am very proud of for tonight, small cities and towns are getting safer while violent crimes in large cities are on the rise. The town of Yorktown has been named the #1 city in America and safest city in America. Safest town, I should say, in America. We owe all of you folks, all of our police, our fire, our paramedics, a big round of applause. This is something that we tout in this town about how safe our town is, and it is because of everybody in this town and our commitment to one another that this occurs. It's because of all of us that we keep our police force, our fire, our ambulance, our paramedics on duty for everybody in this community, and I'm so proud that this has happened to the town of Yorktown. That's all I got. Ed, what about you?
All right. So Friday, June 16th, will be our senior advisory meeting here in the boardroom at 1 p.m. Please come and find out a little bit about what's happening in town. There's usually a speaker from Hudson Valley New York Presbyterian Hospital, and they also serve lunch, so it's always a nice showing there. Our Veterans Advisory June meeting is on Wednesday, June 21st, 7 p.m., room 104 at the Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center. Then we will be off for the months of July and August and resume meetings again in September. And the Teen Center had their end-of-year celebration this past Friday, so they will be off for the summer, and we appreciate all the work that they do in trying to keep the teens safe with some place to go. And then just coming up real soon, just a reminder, the Yorktown Lions Summer Concert Series will be starting July 9th with, I think, the first concert being Rusty Spur, which is a country band, appropriately named. And our final concert on the last Sunday in August will be our Veterans Military Appreciation Concert. It will start 1 hour earlier than normal, which it normally starts at 6. It'll start at 5 p.m. We will have Alyssa Martin doing a old-style 1940s act, some of the music that blessed our military overseas. And then we also will have our finale concert starting at 6 with Jessica Lynn. So some local homegrown talent. And really looking forward to this year's concert series. And there are 4 other bands sandwiched in between there that'll be awesome. So make sure you get out there. The schedules will be up front for next month. Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Esposito.
Yeah, I'd like to say good evening to everybody. I'm happy to see everybody here again. I know you guys are all excited to be here. You know, nothing like a good old town board meeting. Am I right, Diana? No?
No.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to jump the gun for Jim there, but a very great group in Yorktown. The Yorktown Athletic Club is having a parade June 10th, and I'm going to leave it to Jim Pugliese here to give you the details. But it's coming up soon, and I hope to see everybody there. It's going to start at the Grange Fair. It's going to end up at the firehouse grounds here, and there's going to be a huge carnival. But they do so much good for our community, keep our kids safe. You know, I coached my kids, and my son won an award for baseball the other night, and he had to make a speech. And in his speech, he brought up something that I hardly remembered, but we used to have a baseball team, and I was their coach in-house in YAC. And we called ourselves the Blue Airheads. And it was because I loved the Airheads candy, and I liked the blue ones, so that was our name. He brought this up out of everything that he's been through in his baseball career, and he's a pretty good one thus far. That's what he remembered. He remembered me, him, and my other son, and all the rest of us just playing baseball, you know, on Brookside 3, which was the best one at the time. And that was the memory that the YAC gave me, and it was the memory that my son remembered. And by the way, we won the chip that year, by the way. So we were victorious. I want to also congratulate William and Joshua Henkin for achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. It's really no small task to do something like that. It's a long process. It's a grueling process. And I'm sure his parents had something to do with their parents had something to do with it for them sticking with it. And but it's really quite an achievement for 2 young boys there. And I really want to congratulate them. I want to reach out to the Mohegan Lake Volunteer Ambulance Corps and of course the Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps. I've gotten to know many of you. Over the last couple of years, more so than I had already known. Luckily, not intimately, where you had to come pick me up. So I'm thankful for that. But really, a heartfelt thanks to all of you for everything that you guys do for us. I know it's not easy. I know it takes you away from your kids, your family, and I know you guys do it just because, And so thank you.
Thank
That's
you,
all.
sir. Luciana?
Good evening, everyone. I guess I would like to first thank everyone for attending today in honor of what was EMS Week and continues to be a celebration. I do want to also congratulate all the Eagle Scouts and all those that participated in the last 2 weeks of events. I think it's really important that we recognize that as we sit here up on the board, our support is endless. It doesn't mean only when we show up. It also means on who we talk about the events to, who we share them to. And sometimes I find that my authentic self gets jabbed because I'm not able to show up to something or be at something. And I just want to let you know that based on getting to know me, you'll know that my heart's pretty big. And this community has my heart. And on behalf of this board, I am so proud for the numerous and the abundance of events that we have to give our families and the celebration and recognition of the men and women and those that live in this community and give back and have an impact on other people's lives. And I just want to thank everyone who's put on the numerous events that have been there. Volunteership is not overlooked. It comes from gifts, either with YEC, to the Pride events, to your Repair Cafe, Sarah, to what you guys do as volunteers. It is something that I hope that my children see, that the return is the thank you and the recognition for someone. So before we jump to conclusions why somebody might not be somewhere, I want you to remember there is no one standing behind this town more than the people that are sitting next to me, and we hope to continue to do that. And I just want to thank you for that. And also, I want to thank all of the moving up ceremonies and the graduation ceremonies, including my son Tristan, who's in the audience, as he graduates preschool this next Saturday.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, another, as much as I love my Parks and Recs, I will not be at the Yak. Maybe I'll stop by after, but I will be celebrating with my little boy as he takes his first leap into his chapter book. And may everyone's chapter book keep being filled with pages. Thank you.
All right.
Luciana.
You're welcome.
Mary?
She's absolutely right. We cannot be within, everywhere. But there is an event on Friday that I think we all know and love, the Relay for Life. Relay for Life is
Oh,
on Friday,
yeah.
yes. So let's not forget that. It starts at 5. 7 o'clock is the opening ceremony. 5:30 is the survivor dinner. My favorite of the evening is always the Luminaria ceremony, which is at 9:30. So please, if you can, attend Jack DeVito Field, it's a great event. And also, Genesis Jewelers, they are looking for gently used children's books. They are looking for donations their goal is 1,000 books, and they provide books to families and school districts in under-resourced communities in Westchester County. So if you have any books, drop them off at Genesis Jewelers.
I just want to piggyback that. I have truckloads of books at my house, and libraries aren't taking them all anymore. So this is a great thing. So go
Genesis
through that attic.
Jewelers. Thank you.
Mr. Dave?
Sir Tomalot.
Where's the red?
Gotta scare you once in a while.
Okay.
You're looking quite dapper
I
tonight.
don't want. Look, I'm
got the
sitting.
blue memo.
Bad enough.
Yeah.
I'm sitting back to the window. You want me to wear the red? Target on the back. So at Highway, first I'd like to say my greatest gratitude to our EMS crews from Mohegan and from YVAC. Having benefited personally from them, hopefully none of you will ever have to. I can't sing their praises enough. They were instrumental in the reason that I'm here this evening. I don't come to a lot of meetings, so thank you. You guys distinguish yourself by your compassion and your just in your compassion. So, okay, as far as highways concerned, trees, drainage, paving, mowing, nothing out of the ordinary.
That's it?
Yeah, pretty much. We got a lot of paving done, a couple of full neighborhoods, which was great. And we won't be paving again until after the 26th when schools close, because a couple of the areas we're going to address are directly related to schools. So, okay, thank you. There you go.
Mr. Rodriguez, our town attorney.
Nothing to add right now.
Nothing? All right. One thing I had forgotten. The Garden of Hope. The Garden of Hope is located on Curry Street at Willow Park. It's actually at the intersection of Curry Street and Tulip. They need volunteers, folks. Okay? If you want to volunteer and you're under 14 years of age, you must be accompanied by a responsible adult over 18. Okay, bring work gloves and water. Bug spray and sunscreen are suggested. And a good, hearty work ethic.
And boots.
Make sure you got boots.
When? It'll be Thursdays from 4 p.m. to sundown. Saturday from 9:30 to 2. Come for an hour, or 2, or 3, or stay all day. Learn how to plant and maintain and harvest a vegetable garden. Teens can earn community service hours towards the requirement for the National Honor Society. Are you looking for a family project you can all do together? Come to the garden, and we'll give you a row to grow. The Garden of Hope donates all produce harvested to the community food pantries at St. Mary's, Mohegan Lake, and the First Presbyterian Church Food Pantry. For more information, come on Thursday or Saturday and ask for Janet, and have yourself a good breakfast if you go in the morning, because you're going to need it, because they'll work the heck out of you. No, they actually have fun. I saw a lot of people working there the other day. We're actually in the process of moving some mulch in for them and so forth, so that they can get these gardens going to feed the people that need it. But all the proceeds go to the food pantries.
Supervisor, the pantries have seen a dramatic increase.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things we're trying to teach our children and those for the future is what tangible impact looks like. And going to some place like this, even on a Saturday with your family, is probably a great excursion, just like going and visiting one of our trails in one of our parks, because the magic that comes out of that dirt and the families that you're feeding, which are up in the upwards of 700 families within our community,
Yeah.
is incredibly impactful. And I think it's quite amazing.
One of the things I learned when I was there is that they actually don't dig in the ground to plant their plants. Their plants are actually grown above ground in raised beds that they make out of the mulch and the dirt and so forth that they put there. Because the soil is so moist there, quite often the roots get too much water. So in this case here, the water goes through the mulch and so forth they have there, and they grow a nice garden. Matter of fact, they got some stuff in the ground already, and it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Serge, did you have something?
Yeah, I just got two more things. I wanted to wish both my children, my two boys, Jack and Luke, a happy birthday. Jack will be 19 tomorrow. Luke was 17 on the 1st. And last thing we forgot to mention, well, not forgot, but maybe you have it in your notes. I'm probably jumping ahead. But let's talk about the planning board the public hearing on Thursday.
I got that coming up.
Okay, all right.
All right?
Gotta make sure we get that.
All right. Dave, you gave your little thing. Nothing else, right? We got a lot of paving that's gotten done, and I'll tell you what, the roads are looking good out there, folks. Dave, thank you so much for all
Thank you.
and the crew do. We greatly appreciate that. We have some proclamations to be given. We're going to start. I'm going to jump a little bit here, and only because John McMullen isn't here, and he has asked John McSergio to read his D-Day poem. So if we could, Sergio, would you like to read his poem? And then I'm going to have a presentation made by Major Sheridan on the National Day of Remembrance of the 79th anniversary of D-Day.
Okay, all right. So this is the words of John McMullen. In a lifetime of those Americans over 82 years of age, there have been three awful dates in their history. December 7th, 1941, September 11th, 2001, and January 6th, 2021. In each case, the way of life of the United States was under attack, and although we rallied to each, the scars are still there. In the same time frame, one day stands out, a symbol of the unity of a wonderful nation, June 6th, 1944. On that day, always referred to as D-Day, the greatness of this nation was apparent. The working patriotism of business and labor manufactured an endless supply of equipment, weapons, planes, and ships for an invasion. The great wartime leadership of a Democrat, Franklin D. Roosevelt, guided our strategy, and the tactical leadership of later Republican President General Dwight D. Eisenhower made the biggest naval operation in history a great success. John says, as an aside, future New York Yankee great and personal muse of mine, Lawrence P. Berra, a.k.a. Yogi, watched the whole operation from aboard a naval ship and might have said, "Hey, Hitler, it ain't over till it's over." At no time in our nation's history has such unity and purpose been on display. One can only hope that we can one day soon return to the same great American spirit. One more aside, John says, this is kind of self-serving. Thanks so much to Sergio Esposito for reading my poems at the town board meetings while I battle a bout of annoying pneumonia.
Oh, boy. Well, thank you, Sergio.
Diana?
Let me see
You
where it
shut it
actually
out.
says that. Sir.
It does. It does say it.
I might have put that in.
It's in italics.
All right. That being said, Major Sheridan, if you could come forward, please.
Diana.
Sorry, it kind of came apart. If you could read it, I got it. I'm all set. Major Sheridan is going to read the proclamation for D-Day.
The 79th anniversary of D-Day. Whereas on June 6, 1944, D-Day, more than 156,000 American, British, and Canadian troops landed on the beaches of the Normandy region of France for what would be the largest military assault in the history of war. And whereas 79 years later, we are reminded of the magnitude of that day and of the heroism of the thousands who waded onto the beaches, parachuted into the countryside, and gave their all to change the course of history and to bring liberty to millions. And whereas on that fateful June morning before dawn, paratroopers of the Army's 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions, among others, fell in behind enemy lines. Shortly thereafter, the first wave of American, British, and Canadian infantry divisions, which had crossed the English Channel in 7,000 vessels and landing craft, rushed forth onto the 5 beaches of the targeted 50-mile stretch of the French coastline, codenamed Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. And whereas awaiting these brave men was a shoreline littered with anti-landing obstacles, landmines, bunkers, and strategically positioned machine gun nests. These defenses inflicted devastating losses on the Allied forces. 1,465 Americans perished on the beaches of Normandy that day. On Omaha Beach, the bloodiest of the 5, the U.S. Army's 1st and 29th Infantry Divisions suffered horrific losses. 2,400 soldiers were killed or wounded by day's end. And whereas, secure in the nobility of their cause and driven by love of country, the heroes of D-Day pressed forward against the German onslaught. Through their gallantry and dedication to duty, they overwhelmed the enemy and secured a beachhead that allowed wave after wave of infantry to push onto the continent. By day's end, the D-Day forces had pried open Europe's northern door, so tightly sealed by the Nazis for years. Through that door streamed the forces of liberation, which ultimately ended the war, ended the horrors of the Holocaust, and ended the tyrannical Hitler regime. And whereas today we pause to remember and honor all of the brave soldiers, sailors, and airmen for their selfless sacrifices, may we always be true to the virtues and principles for which this D-Day generation, the greatest generation, paid so dearly. As we mark 79 years since the D-Day landings, we recognize that their legacy grows ever more meaningful with time. The story of America will forever include the valor and sacrifice of the intrepid servicemen who took those beaches in northwest France on June 6, 1944. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Thomas P. Diana, the town supervisor, on behalf of the town board and the residents of the town of Yorktown, recognize June 6, 2023 as the National Day of Remembrance of the 79th anniversary of D-Day and call upon its residents to observe and honor those heroes who fought and died so that men and women they had never met might know what it is to live in freedom. In witness hereof, he has set his hand and signature.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Special thanks to all our vets. Mike, beautiful reading. I want to thank you for the short notice coming up and reading that for us. I think it was apropos. And you know what? I'm going to turn this resolution over to you, all right, so that you can have that for your post, and I'll be getting one to the Legion Hall.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of VFW Post 8328, our last World War II veteran passed away a couple years ago, Felix Zuma. He had been an Army medic at Normandy.
Oh, boy.
And so we'll get this posted over in the Post right up next to our framed picture of him in the canteen.
Perfect.
We'll hoist a cold one for them and be happy to share with the American Legion. I think they still have some.
If I could share quickly, there was another World War II vet who also passed away a couple years ago who was at Normandy, and he was a medic. His name was Bob Katzenoff. You knew Bob? And he as a private and his father in World War I as a private were both awarded the Silver Star and both earned Purple Hearts. And I just, could never forget, and, it was very poignant how you spoke about doing for others that they would never meet so they could live in freedom. And Bob was very, very fond of saying that he lived a long life. It was never an easy life. And especially for his military, he would do it all again in a heartbeat for his country. And he became a very good friend over the years. And when he passed, it was definitely a gap in my life, but there was also that sense of pride and that relief and he, went to God knowing that he served his country well and did a great service to our country.
Truly the greatest generation.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
truly.
Thank you.
God
Thank you,
bless.
Ed.
Thank you. Thank you, Major.
All right, we have, we're going to have a reading of the National Emergency Medical Service Week Resolution. Luciana?
Sure. Okay. All right. National Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas it is fit and proper to recognize the outstanding service to the residents of Yorktown by dedicated individuals whose selfless acts save lives and protect our community. And whereas National Emergency Medical Service Week allows communities to honor those who stand on the front lines providing life-saving services. And whereas Yorktown's emergency medical service teams provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas the town of Yorktown is served by the Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps, the Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps, and Empress Ambulance. And be it resolved that the town of Yorktown recognizes the countless hours and selfless dedication of the members of the Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps and the Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Be it further resolved that the town of Yorktown recognizes and applauds the commitment displayed by all the emergency medical service operations who service the town of Yorktown. Thank you for your service.
You have one more for each? I'm going to hopefully use the right terminology. Captain Rick Davin, Captain Paul, come on up here.
Chief Ashley.
Oh,
Chief Ashley,
come on up.
come on up. As a matter of fact, once they come up, let's get everybody up here, and we want to get a picture of the folks that help us.
Yes. Going.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ashley. Okay, so picture of all of us?
Rick had a
Rick
couple
wants to
words.
Rick, get on there. Go ahead. Ashley, gonna say a couple words?
I'm going to turn it over to my captain.
Oh, it's a Paul.
Paul never likes to speak, though.
Go ahead, have your seats. I don't need you.
Thank you.
I just want to say a few things to the board. We have just celebrated the 49th Annual National EMS Week. EMS Week brings together local communities and medical personnel to honor the dedication of those who provide the day-to-day life-saving services of medicine's front line. This year's campaign focused on recognizing the selfless calling that makes EMS so vital. Through it all, EMS continues to respond, support, and care for the needs of our communities. Now more than ever, it is important that we honor and celebrate our EMS professionals who are supporting the health and well-being of our nation. As you might be aware, these are particularly trying times for all EMS agencies. Although YVAC held strong throughout the pandemic, volunteerism is still not flourishing. This year is our 60th anniversary for YVAC, and last year was our highest call volume ever, peaking at 1,842 calls for service. This averages out to a 30% increase over the past 10 years. YVAC membership remains strong. However, we need more volunteers to help with the increased volume. Our members currently range in age from 18 to 86. With the current active members, we have a total of 535 cumulative years of service with our active members right now. If you are interested, please go to the YVAC website, YVAC.net, to apply.
Like them on Instagram.
Call,
Right.
click, or follow.
Instagram, like
I know, Paul. Sorry.
A special thank you to all the YVAC professionals for your continued support and assistance. We understand and appreciate the time commitment you have shown during these last few years of extraordinary circumstances. I did want to recognize 4 members here today, which are significant parts of our 535 cumulative years. First one being Henry Lang, 37 years.
Henry.
Mike Shube, 42 years of service. Rich Cariello, 48 years of service.
Rich.
And Jeff Siegel, 49 years of service. Okay, for the Yorktown Board, I have each of you a YVAC 60th Anniversary Challenge coin to remind you to keep YVAC, MVAC, and the Yorktown Fire in your mind as we can continue to face the new challenges within the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. That's really nice.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Paul and company.
Call, click.
You just did.
Hi there.
Hello there.
Good evening, Board of Directors, supervisors, town supervisors, councilwomen, and general population of Yorktown. So my esteemed colleague, Mr. Davin, has done an excellent job, and I have no gifts for you, but don't worry, I got a 20 for you, so we'll work out the details. Thank you very much for inviting us, as always. We thank you because the last time on my left here is Chief Ashley Late, and my right here is Assistant Chief Jessica Porter. On behalf of ourselves, we'd like to thank you very much for Mohegan's 100-year anniversary. We celebrated 100 years on our call volumes. We have approximately 42 square miles. 42 square miles in which we cover basically half is Yorktown, half is Mohegan. And I know the question you're going to ask me, how many calls is actually Yorktown and how many is Mohegan? Great question, Luciana. I knew that was going to be asked of me. So in 2022, last year alone, we did approximately 4,000 calls, 4,000 911 calls. People dialed the number. And as we said before, tongue-in-cheek, anytime someone calls, what they want to hear is the siren. And the siren is them saying, help is on the way. So in 2022, we had 1,912 calls in the town of Yorktown. The year before that, we had 1,732 calls. And in 2020, we had 1,541. So we are Mohegan Ambulance, but like my brethren over here, we work together as a team. And as we did with the MCI drill a couple weeks ago and everything else, we work together. We are a hybrid department, which means we work, thank you so much, we work together with the fire and with also paramedic services. We have, again, approximately 28 active members that work with the 3%, and we're always looking for new membership. Donations are always accepted. Remember that. Just remember the town budget and the attorney over there. MoheganVac.net.
They want
For
vehicles.
those of you who didn't get that, that would be MoheganVac.net. And if you're interested in joining, so be it. I know there was a young lady in the audience. I think this young lady here was interested in possibly joining as well. Yes.
All right, Susan.
Hey, Susan.
Yeah.
Susan and I. Susan, a bye gesund. We'll talk. So what I will tell you is we will look for any kind of person who would like to volunteer in our organization. Yes, you can ride. Yes, you can sponsor. But anybody who does paperwork would be more than willing to do that. Anybody that could help our organization, money and members is what we need. Such as Rick has said that before, we're in a tough time with the EMS community.
Yes, you are.
We need membership dramatically. COVID has devastated our ranks. It's difficult to get EMTs. It's difficult to get people to ride the ambulances. We're very proud of the members and the men and women that we have here, and I'll introduce them in a second. But a good question, Sergio, when can we see you next? Good question.
I always ask a question.
I know, and I have that answer for you, too. You know, we just happen to be doing the car show on June the 11th between 9 and 2. You can come on over to the JV Mall and see the car show. Mohegan Ambulance will be there. Or if you can't make that, come on down to the JV Mall. Come on down to the JV Mall on June the 17th between the hours of 10 and 2 and give your father the gift of life. We'll be giving free blood pressure screening. Can't do that, Rick, can you? Free blood pressure screening at the JV Mall between the hours of 10 and 2. Free gift for dads, okay? And if not, again, we're always looking for members. We're always looking for donations. So if there's anything we can do to help you, just dial 911 or call us. Thank you very much.
I love that.
Thank
Paul.
you so much, Paul.
Shall I introduce?
Absolutely.
At this moment, I'd like to introduce the rest of our merry band of group here. If Mohegan would stand up for a
Come on
second.
up.
And then, Rick, you can stand and we'll do yours, and we're a team. I'm letting him talk. I know. Fire Commissioner, Board of Directors Tony Iannone, John Bohan, Teresa Tippin, Rob Piazza, and Bob Grosso, all members of our organization.
Well done.
And with that, I'll turn it over to... Sit down. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Gavin to introduce his people, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Come introduce yours. Hey, I was just thinking, Yorktown, maybe it would be great for each one of us to go onto the websites of Mohegan and the Yorktown Ambulance Corps and share our experiences with them. Because I think that we hear that about the volunteership and we hear that they're around 24/7, but we forget the impact, the personal connection that they make with us when one of our child falls out of a tree or something happens to one of our loved ones and we dial 911. It would probably be great for us as a community to share our experience and our appreciation to these wonderful volunteers and wonderful services so that we could understand the impacts that these volunteers actually make. Go ahead, Captain. I'm all about live.
You all realize this is going to be a roast, okay?
So my first lieutenant, first lieutenant's not here. Rick Howard.
Hey, Rick.
Those
Gene
are my
Pollock.
boys.
Henry Lang.
Gene.
Kirscher. Anthony Sillis. Mike Shube. Okay, that rope can come down. I can't see behind you. Perry Towns. Mike Ryan. Jeff Siegel. Judy Ciacci and Rich Cariello. Also Jackson Vigioni. Ahmed Eldana. Chad Peterson. And Missy Eidelman. Thank you all.
Why don't we get everybody up for a picture?
You know, ladies and gentlemen, these are the folks that come out in the middle of the night when you need them. They're the ones that scoop you up, package you up, and get you to the hospital if you need to go there. And they don't get paid for this. They volunteer, and this is what we need. And I believe Yorktown still has the youth group. Am I correct about that? Okay. You're still looking for members in the youth group? Okay. Mohegan. Anybody that can breathe? Is that what you're telling me?
We're always looking for members with our supporting Wyatt Act, Youth Corps. We'd like to start a Youth Corps, Elderly Corps, any kind of corps.
Okay.
Don't worry, Susan, I haven't forgotten you. My wife's still watching, but that's
All right. Why don't we get all of you guys to come on up here, and we'll get a couple photos. And if you'd like to stay for the festivities, you're more than welcome. If you'd like to go, you can do that too.
I think I just heard the sirens going. Right?
Yeah, I think they just got a call.
Sorry, emergency call.
All right, let's give him this. Come on. I'll take one of my kids.
Where am I going? All right. Everybody scooch. All right. Sergio needs to scooch together.
We're all Yorktown.
I'm blocking other people.
on this side. Huh? There's way less people Mohegan.
Yeah. What's up with that?
We're used to it. Get over here.
What's up with that?
Say service. Holy moly, God.
All right. Thank you all.
I said, I think that's a question.
Take care now.
Hey, Henry.
I know, I write good stuff.
Huh?
I write good stuff.
Get thrown out of my own bed.
We got.
There's a typo on that thing. It's got the date on the top, the date. No, on the.
All right.
Mohegan Colony.
All right, I don't worry about that.
One more from.
He said, give it to you. Make sure I give it to you.
Bye, bello. Ciao, amore.
Okay, we got. As soon as we get cleared out here for a moment, we got two more. One is going to be, and we're going to call on. I got to find out which hat he has on today because he wears many.
There he is.
And there he is in the back. Ken Belfer, I'd like you to come up and read your resolution from Mohegan
Yay.
Colony.
This is a long time coming. 100 years.
And I'm the only one here tonight from the Mohegan Colony because there's a meeting going on tonight planning for the centenary this weekend.
I thought you were going to say you're the only one who remembers when it was founded.
The only
No.
one left standing.
Don't date my
Oh, that's wrong.
No, you see, my wife tells me I have to stop going to so many meetings, so I'm skipping the centenary meeting of the colony, and I'm here.
There you go.
I think
That's
she wants.
50%.
That makes sense.
50%, half the meetings.
Well, you did what she said, right?
Okay. Whereas the Mohegan Colony was formed in April 1923, and whereas the colony has existed and operated continuously for 100 years, currently as the Mohegan Colony Association Incorporated, and Whereas the colony has played a unique historical role in Yorktown and Cortland, and I think I'm going to skip saying whereas because it appears about 50 times.
You go. You,
Welcome
you,
to the proclamation world.
Yes.
As stated in the preamble of the April 1923 Colony Constitution, the founders organized, quote, this settlement in the hope that we may free ourselves and our children from at least some of the diseases of city life, to give free rein to our thoughts and ideals, to offer our children a libertarian education which will fit them to be fighters for a better world. The colony grew out of a pioneering educational movement that began in France and Spain in the 1800s and was called the Modern School Movement, based on ideas that were ahead of their time and envisioned coeducational secular schools. Imagine that. That would allow children to choose their own studies, following their interests and curiosities without the burden of rote learning and rigid curriculum. 400 acres spanning the towns of Yorktown and Cortland were purchased by the colony in 1923 from the Baron de Hirsch Fund, were originally part of tracts given to the Townsend family and General John Paulding for their services to the colonial army in the Revolutionary War. The original colony school was established in a 1700s farmhouse long before the existence of the Lakeland Central School District. The early colony members developed a water distribution system in the colony before there was town water, and developed and maintained all of the roads in the colony. In addition to the 1-acre parcels that were sold to colony members to build homes, a stone schoolhouse was built on a 9-acre parcel on Baron de Hirsch Road in Cortland, and a swimming beach, picnic, and recreational area were developed on 25 acres off of High Street in Yorktown. Many of the early colony members were in the performing arts, and the colony built a stage and eventually a pavilion, and built clay tennis courts on the schoolhouse property, and performances were held at the colony that were attended by people from as far away as New York City. The early colony residents had different ethnic backgrounds, coming from countries such as France, England, Italy, Spain, Russia, Poland, Austria, and Finland, and had different political views, but all wanted to leave the urban environment and live a simpler, healthier life and give their children an opportunity to grow in an environment of freedom, to express themselves through creative activity and develop individuality. And whereas colony residents helped develop the common properties and helped each other build homes, and during the Depression years, the colony operated a store on Lexington Avenue and issued its own scrip so that residents without money could purchase food and necessities. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the town of Yorktown hereby recognizes and celebrates the Mohegan Colony's 100-year anniversary. And be it further resolved, the town of Yorktown recognize the continued legacy of the unique utopian experiment envisioned by the colony's founders, the continued preservation of 25 acres at the southwestern end of Lake Mohegan, and the involvement and support of the colony in the creation and activities of the Mohegan Lake Improvement District to improve and enhance the lake environment.
Thank you, Ken.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
you know, and if you look at some of the names of the people, you have Baron de Hirsch family, which was the Baron de Hirsch Road. You have Paulding Lane.
Yes.
And what was the last one there?
Townsend.
Townsend Road.
Townsend Road.
Yep, which is all in that particular area down in the Cortland. Well, yeah,
Yes.
it's in the Cortland side of that particular colony. Ken, would you like to tell us a little bit about what's going on? I know we have a dinner on Saturday night, and then next month is Lake Day, right? So if you could just give
Sure.
people an idea about what's going on and.
Sure, and I've got a real history lesson myself by reading to prepare the, I was asked
This
to
is
draft
unbelievable.
something
This
for
is incredible.
Yorktown and Cortland, and I learned a lot that I didn't know. First of all, if you want more information about the Mohegan Colony, it has a website, www.mohegancolony.org.
You can like us on Facebook, and
I always forget
Click
about
on-
Facebook.
click on
'cause I'm
Instagram.
old-fashioned, but we're on Facebook, I believe.
Somewhere on there.
He said he's old-fashioned as he's giving you a website.
Websites are old-fashioned.
They're
now
old-fashioned,
with
that's my
social
point,
media,
yes.
yeah. But Friday night, we have a bonfire at the lake, at the beach, at 3092 High Street. Saturday, we have open house at the lake during the day, and then in the evening, we switch to the Cortland side of the community to what was the former schoolhouse property and pavilion. It's now owned by Calvary Chapel. And we're having a buffet dinner there at 6 p.m. and then a program at 7:30 p.m. with speakers and musical performers and people who are coming back from all over the country, I think, who took part in the colony at various stages of its existence.
Cool.
And that's at the schoolhouse, right, Ken?
That's at
On-
the
on
schoolhouse,
Saturday.
99 Baron de Hirsch Road in Crampond.
Okay.
And I'll come up later to mention Lake Day, a courtesy of the floor.
Okay, all right.
That's
We-
a different
Pat, did you know that I'm
That's a
leading the
different-
hike?
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Ken.
All right. And last, but certainly not least, this is a man of very few words, folks. Jim Puglisi. He's going to give us a little reading of a proclamation for Yorktown Athletics Club's 75th, and he was the founding member, anniversary for Yorktown Athletic Club. Jim, I have it right here for you.
Have you ever seen Jim with a microphone in his hand?
Yeah, no, he's
It's dangerous.
He's very shy.
It's dangerous. You're not going to sing, right?
No, I won't sing.
I got you on video.
We already
I got
cleared
you
the
on
room out.
video singing, man.
We already cleared the room out.
Do we
Okay.
have any other YAC members? Pat, aren't you YAC?
We have
Okay, that.
Kate Nickashir is here as well.
Kate, come on up. Come on up. You want to flank him? We're good. Kick him when he goes too long, whatever.
All right. Let's see. This is, first of all, thank you for making this Jim Puglisi. Oh, wait, this is not Jim Puglisi. Sorry.
See, I told you.
Okay.
few words.
We're going to read right from here. Whereas the Yorktown Athletic Club is a self-funding, all-volunteer, not-for-profit corporation that provides organized youth sport programs for the social enjoyment of its members and friends of the Yorktown community. And whereas the Yorktown Athletic Club was established in 1948 and has been in existence for 75 years. And whereas today, the Yorktown Athletic Club consists of approximately 1,500 family members and over 2,500 sports participants. And whereas the Yorktown Athletic Club offers to its members the following youth sports programs: baseball, girls and boys basketball, flag and tackle football, wrestling, boys and girls lacrosse, girls softball, golf, volleyball, and cheerleading. And whereas the Yorktown Athletic Club utilizes the fields and facilities maintained by the Yorktown Parks and Recreation Department and the Yorktown Central School District. And whereas the Yorktown Athletic Club consists of elected officers, board members, sports commissioners, division coordinators, and coaches, which are all volunteer positions. And whereas the Yorktown Athletic Club stresses that winning an athletic event shall always be secondary to our goal, which is to help our children understand and develop true sportsmanship qualities, which include showing respect for both your teammates and opponents and the fun and challenging competition. And whereas the town of Yorktown supports and applauds the efforts of the Yorktown Athletic Club and the opportunities that they provide to our youth. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the town supervisor of Yorktown, Thomas P. Diana, along with the town board members of Yorktown, do hereby acknowledge the 75th anniversary of the Yorktown Athletic Club and thank all the volunteers that make the organization possible. We thank you for what you do for Yorktown's youth and our community as a whole.
You know, Jim, we thank the YAC and our SOAC for what they do for our community. And the YYAC, is it, did I hear that in the back? YYSC, okay. For what they can do in all the ACs, for what they do for our community, for our kids. Because, you know, I've said it before, that no matter what, these sports programs, these cheerleading programs, et cetera, is what keeps the kids out of trouble, okay? It keeps them busy, it keeps them occupied. If they're out kicking a ball, they're not throwing a rock through somebody's window, you know? Well, Jim, I know that you had trouble with that at one time as a child, so we won't go into that, so.
Well, you know, I think it goes in part with what you said earlier. You mentioned that Yorktown.
You gotta go.
You gotta go back to the
Yeah,
mic,
you gotta
or
go back
you're
to
gonna
the-
get yelled at.
Sorry.
Already did.
He already got yelled at.
If I may take my soapbox for a second, I think
Yes.
it goes in part with what you said earlier, Supervisor, in terms of Yorktown being one of the safest cities. I can't agree with you more. I grew up playing sports. I think a lot of us grew up playing sports. Whether it's playing sports, whether it's band, whether it's something, this community, this town offers so much for our kids that it keeps them out of trouble. It keeps them occupied. I mean, having 3 kids of my own and just constantly running to sporting events and this practice and that practice, it really is something that we are blessed to be a part of here. YAC, again, just echoing what has been said with the volunteer corps, the ambulance corps, we are all volunteers, okay? Some of us, like Kate, doesn't even have a child in the program anymore.
I know, it's amazing.
Our president, John Campobasso, has no children in the program anymore. I don't have any children in the program anymore after this year. But you know, Maria has no children in the program anymore. So we do it for the kids. We do it for the community. And it really is, it's a great organization. It's a great town. Can't say enough about it, and can't say enough about the volunteers, from the board members straight down to all, to the coaches. But a big shout out and a big thank you to this board, to our past boards who have always supported us. Dave, Highway, Parks and Rec has been absolutely fantastic. Our police department, our fire department, I mean, really, we can't thank you enough.
Jim, isn't there an
Commission
event?
also, we gotta give.
Absolutely, and the Parks
Yep.
and Rec Commission, 100%, 100%.
You might, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, isn't there an event going on tonight where there's scholarships being handed out?
There
in-
is.
in
Well, it's
the,
senior night, right? It's
Quachuck-
the Husker dinner tonight.
That's,
It's June 14th.
yeah, that's a Wednesday
Okay, but
anyway.
I think there is a
Senior night.
scholarship award.
Yeah,
tonight.
I just want to,
Yes,
in honor
that's
of like
going on tonight.
Scotty Krawchuk, they're doing it for 2 different
Yes.
floors, handing it out.
might-
The impact it's making even for those children who lost their father.
Yeah.
And in this community, they're not only cheered on by those coaches, but I see how together they get to have their father's legacy live on as it
Absolutely.
helps other children. That comes from within. And I just want to give you guys a really high five because that was really touching for me.
Thank you. Thank you.
You mind if I rant and rave about you guys for a minute?
Please.
So I want to give a shout out to John Campobasso, who is, like you said, I mean, no kids in the program anymore, still humming along, still doing a great job with you guys, with you together. You two are like a tag team, and you guys do an incredible job. But about a month ago, I was at an event with you guys, and I asked John. I said, John, I said, how many baseballs do you think you bought this year? He goes, I don't know. I said, well, give me a ballpark. He says, we usually buy about 1,000 baseballs. You times 1,000 baseballs times 75 years. You got 75,000 baseballs that you guys bought over the 75 years. Now, you look at it, you say, all right, so it's 75,000 baseballs. But it's not the baseballs. It's what the baseballs represent. And they represent 75,000 opportunities for a kid to succeed. 75,000 opportunities for a kid to lay a really great bunt. 75,000 opportunities to hit a home run. 75,000 opportunities to hit a sack fly. 75,000 opportunities where they're not on the street.
Exactly.
And that's only if you use the same ball once.
Right.
And we know that that's not the case. So the amount of opportunities that you guys have, and that's just baseball, right? You got all these other sports. I mean, it's just incredible what you guys have accomplished over the 75 years. and I hope you have another 75 years to go.
Absolutely. Listen,
Jim, then.
we've been a feeder program for the high school and beyond. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but, just as an example, just this past year, Yorktown has had 2 players go back-to-back winning a national championship. 2 players that came out of Yorktown. Last year was Brett Makar and the University of Maryland. This year was Jose Boyer and Notre Dame. But what made that even special, more special, I should say, is that Duke played Notre Dame this past year, just last week. Duke has a sophomore player on his team, Keith Boyer, who was the number 1 rated defenseman coming out of high school in the state, in the country. And he played against his brother, Jose, who was a 5th-year senior. That started in YAC, and that went up through high school into college. So it's special when you see that and you see kids, and it's in every sport. We've got it in baseball, we've got it in lacrosse, soccer I'm sure has it as well. So it's really, we're really proud of it, and I can't go without just acknowledging our board who goes above and beyond for the kids, the community, and even the volunteers. So thank you for this. I really
Good job,
appreciate it.
Jim. And we talked about 75,000 baseballs. Now, if you had to utter a guess, how many kids have gone through this program in 75 years? Would you think?
Don't look at me.
Yeah, I'd
It's incredible.
I'd say over. It's got to be well over 100,000. I
Yeah,
would guess.
yeah.
At least.
These are
Couple
kids
hundred
that
thousand.
went on to, could have gone on to professional, as we've just heard, and so forth. But now, talk to us about your event for this weekend.
So, thank you, by the way, for really supporting us with this. This is something that, as a board, we discussed. 75 years. It's a milestone. So we wanted to throw a big banger, so to speak, to talk a kid's language. We wanted to just throw a really big party, and Charlotte is coming down right there, by the way. No, right in front of you, right here.
Oh, goody.
So we really wanted to throw a great party for the town. This is a 100% free event.
Beautiful.
Hang on, Jim. We got to kill somebody.
It's a 100% free event. We are going to have, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have a volunteer on the board who said that they would get in the dunk tank.
That's you, Sergio, for sure. That's got to be
You
you,
want me in
Sergio.
the dunk tank?
Absolutely.
What's the temperature, first of all?
Wait a minute. You went on a
wait,
polar
wait.
plunge.
My mother raised 1 fool. That was my brother. He ain't here right now. That's why I can say that. That's why
I
he's
have
a
it
good
on.
guy,
I have it on record that you were going to go into the dunk tank, but we have
I have to come just for that.
food, we have barbecue, we have local food from around the community that is going to be supporting us. Bounce houses, and not just your typical, I need the glasses, not just your typical bouncy castles. We have a 50-foot obstacle course for the young adults, for the teenage kids. It's really going to be fantastic. And we have Sal Lagonia and Class Action that are going to be playing
Great.
all day. So we're going to start with a parade. It's going to start up at the Grange Fair, and we're going to march down to behind the fire department. We got Yorktown supporting us with a fire truck. We're going to have the police department supporting us with some cars. But it's also the captain's test that day, so good luck to all the officers taking that test.
That's amazing.
But we got popcorn machines, snow cones, face painting, dunk tank games, music, lots of food. It's going to be a great day, and as of right now, weather looks fantastic. So
What time does the parade start?
What's the weather?
the weather looks fantastic. The
I don't
parade
like that
starts. We're going to start marching at around 1:30.
One. Yeah.
We're going to meet at 1 o'clock at the Grange Fair. Everybody is invited. We'll do it. Everyone is invited.
I will not be around, Jim. I'm sorry, but
You're dead to me, Ed.
Stop
No.
it.
But I do want to point something out, though, because you talked about opportunities. There's something even more than just for the kids. I had the opportunity to coach my daughter for 3 years in YAC softball, and when I tell you, when you talk about family bonding, when you talk about being able to spend some quality time with your children and children with their parents, and other parents similarly minded. It was just a phenomenal experience to me. My daughter's probably 27, 28 years out of the program, and it was still, it was a very poignant memory for me, and it was,
100%.
yeah. And
I cherish that now. I did that with my son. I did that with my middle daughter. I'm coaching my youngest right now in softball. I love it. I do.
Jim, what am I doing wrong? I think my son listens to the other coaches better than he listens to his mother. And I want to win, and
We'll
they're
talk
like,
o-
Mom,
we'll-
we got to play for fun. So
We'll
I was
talk
like,
off the record.
yeah, I need some coaching tips.
So,
not
but
for
my
nothing,
son
my
hates it.
daughter listened to Coach Dan more than she listened
Thank
to
you.
me.
Yeah, so it's a kid thing.
Supervisor.
This Dan?
Not that.
Not this Dan? Because you coached for a long time.
Diana,
Yes.
You coached
everybody
too?
on the board, Dave, seriously, thank you so much for the support that you've given us throughout the years. But even for this event, it's going to be, we really appreciate it.
Thank you for
The parade kicks
opportunity.
off when?
The parade kicks off this Saturday, 1:30 at the Grange Fair.
Okay.
Amazing.
And we're
Parking-
ending up in the back of the, I'm
We're
sorry.
going to end
sir.
up at the back end of the firehouse,
Back
correct?
of the firehouse. Okay.
Yeah, and I spoke to the Grange, and they're actually filming, I think, Forged in Fire or something?
Yeah.
So parking's gonna be limited at the Grange, so
Okay.
if we could get the message
Parking
out.
in the front?
Yeah, yes, and
Okay.
because they're actually doing like filming. So,
Fine.
so most people are gonna wanna park down where the destination is. So if you put the word out, just in case.
Listen, if you guys remember years ago, we used to do this all the time. We used to have a parade every year for this, and it kind of just, went by the wayside, didn't really get, the support that we wanted to, but this year I think it's going to be, like I said, it's going to
gonna be insane.
It's going to be a blast. Once they heard you were going to be in the dunk tank, it's kind of sold out.
Yeah.
Do I get to heckle people?
Of course you do. It wouldn't be a dunk tank if
I
you
wa-
don't
I
have
won't
It wouldn't be Sergio if he.
Right, exactly.
I'm not gonna be in the newspaper that I was heckling little kids or
We got the
anything like that. Did you
Speedo
get everything?
outside. You'll see. It's be ready to go.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Unsee certain things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you,
this.
Jim.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I just wanted to read this real quick. This is with regard to small cities and towns are getting safer while violent crime and large cities, it's on the rise. Crime takes a toll on communities, not just emotionally but economically as well. In addition to direct costs from loss of property, services, for victims and policing and corrections, residents of higher crime locales often pay higher rates on car insurance, homeowners insurance, and renters insurance. Seeking respite in America's smaller cities and towns has its appeal. But how much safer are small towns in reality? To test the theory that small cities and towns are the safest places in America, MoneyGeek analyzed crime statistics by quantifying the cost of crime and ranking 660 small cities and towns nationwide and in every state. Data on violent crimes such as murders, rape, and aggravated assaults are included, as well as property crimes such as burglaries and car thefts. This analysis is conducted annually and followed by MoneyGeek's ranking of the safest cities in America. The cost of crime per capita in Yorktown is $43. So I think that keeps us right up there on the top, folks, and I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of our police department and all of our service people that help us keep it that way. So thank you all. All right. We'll continue on with our meeting now. Jim, thank you so much, and I thank everybody, all the recipients of the small awards that we gave, and okay. Okay, on with it. We're going to open up, courtesy of the floor, and as a reminder, you can always contact us. You don't have to wait for courtesy of the floor. You can always call Town Hall, our town officials, our town departments. We're here to work for you. You can visit us on the town website at www.yorktownny.org. You can find all the contact information for everybody here on the dais, town clerk, and even the town attorney, and probably even Dave.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
And of course, all the elected officials, which we are. As a reminder, there's a 3-minute time limit, and your comments, on your comments for courtesy of the floor, we ask you to keep them directed to the town board, and we ask, as always, your comments remain focused and respectful. With that, I'll open up courtesy of the floor.
Motion open up.
Motion to open courtesy of the floor.
Motion.
Motion.
You don't really need it. No, you don't really need it. You need it to close it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Larry Killian, 33-year resident.
We got you smiling, Larry. I see that.
And I'm also smiling. I know they're gone. Thank you to the EMS and ambulance people. As somebody who has had 2 heart attacks and 2 scares,
Boy.
they have served me personally, and it's an incredible comfort to have them at your side so quickly.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Okay, policy. When approving development projects, transparency is essential to make sure you are not missing important issues such as our plague of vacant stores. It's not a good idea, in my opinion, to give Underhill Farms a tax break to build unneeded commercial space. Not only do we lose those taxes, but we take a second hit when the owners of other buildings that lose tenants file for future tax breaks and retroactive tax refunds. Look closely at the tax cert you approved on April 5th last year. It was for the Veterans Road building that lost doctors to the new Caremountain facility on 118. The pattern of reduced assessments in this building goes all the way back to 2017. It's the story of e-commerce in the 21st century. It's not an isolated case. The value of existing office space is declining and will continue to decline even more drastically if you give developers tax breaks for unneeded office and retail space. Even more troubling, these tax certs come in waves because the judgments are relative. The last big wave in Yorktown was from 2010 to 17. We lost $1.5 million in tax dollars and associated legal fees. Just for the town, for us taxpayers, that translates to over $5 million. I'm suggesting that you revise 485B. All right? It favors developers at the expense of us taxpayers. Think of the new Caremountain building on 118. Was there ever an option to move those Yorktown doctors out of town? No. Yet we've lost over $300,000 in taxes in the last 3 years. You have the option of targeting your tax breaks to, let's say, apartments and not giving them to developers to build new stores. We're in jeopardy of reducing the value of our existing commercial space. So please change that policy, and please spend the money to maintain the tennis courts so they don't go into disrepair.
Thank you, Larry. Okay, anybody else for courtesy of the floor?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Mark.
Lieberman, Wells Street. So first, I think it was great that you had the D-Day proclamation today. My brother was born on D-Day.
Happy birthday, Tim.
Yes.
He's,
Happy heavenly
It's
birthday.
my brother's birthday today also.
yeah. And both sides of my family served during World War II, the Battle of the Bulge, and other
My dad was in that also.
terrible battles.
Thank you for their service.
Yeah. And thanks for honoring the EMS. Larry went through it. My wife went through it, of course, 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning. She had post-surgical adhesion, which was cutting off the circulation to her intestines. So they got her to Northern Westchester just in time to get surgery to save a significant portion of her intestines. But the reason I came tonight is you've done several studies on traffic on Halleck's Mill Road. And what I'm noticing lately, which I don't think was part of your studies, is the people coming on Halleck's Mill and turning left to go, turning right to go west on 202 towards 132, towards the police station, are now acting as though they're merging with the traffic on 202. They are actually cutting people off that have the right of way on 202. And this has happened to me several times just in the past 2 weeks. So they don't make a full stop. I don't know if this is a matter of getting patrol out there or cameras out there to stop it, but they actually act like they have the right of way to merge in and cut off the people on 202. So I don't believe that was ever part of the traffic studies that you've done for that road. I know nothing's been done to follow up to those traffic studies, so here's one more thing to look at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks. Thank you.
Good evening, Jay Kopstein.
Good evening,
Hey,
Jay.
I'm glad Mark brought up Halleck's Mill. Studies are wonderful. Reality is better. Halleck's Mill was closed for 3 or 4 days a couple of weeks ago to do water and sewer work. Contrary to what this study claimed, there was no traffic Armageddon. Again, my suggestion is making Halleck's Mill one way going south and one lane. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Good evening,
Good
Susan Siegel.
Are you joining the ambulance corps?
Yes, after hearing his plea
Right?
2 weeks ago, I thought about it. I said, I know I can't ride in an ambulance.
That's not your
I
thing.
need the ambulance's help. All right? They have helped both. Yorktown has helped my husband, and Mohegan has helped me. So
Okay.
I support them. So I volunteered. I said, do you need somebody to do paperwork? And they said, yes. So I will do that.
That's wonderful.
All right. And I now I have to go after it's been
After
said here
that.
tonight.
That's right.
I
They
have no
called you
other
out.
choice.
You
No other
volunteered.
choice.
You're on the hook.
You're on the hook now.
I think Paul did that on purpose, probably. But no, I'm glad that I have the time and that I can give back what they have been giving to the community.
Thank you.
I have some comments about the town board's failure to always follow the open meetings law. At the May 16th meeting, we were told that the law permitted the town board to discuss resolutions and legislation during closed executive sessions. But that's not what the law says. The law is very specific about what issues can be discussed in closed sessions, and resolutions and legislations are not one of those issues. After I finish talking, I will give you a copy of Section 105 of the Open Meetings Law. Resolutions and legislation are not on that list. But there's another issue where the town board has consistently violated the Open Meetings Law, and that's when town board agendas list the words litigation as a topic to be discussed during closed session. To put it simply, in order for litigation to be discussed during a closed executive session, the agenda must identify the specific litigation. For example, litigation to discuss XYZ company versus the town of Yorktown. This is not my opinion, it's the opinion of the courts. And if the town board or the town attorney needs the case citations, I can certainly provide it. I obviously have no idea what legitimate topics the town board is or has been discussing in closed executive session. I can only guess based on topics that show up on agendas for votes without having been discussed in an open meeting. But going forward, there are 2 possible topics that come to mind. The first is any additional discussions with Underhill Farm about a pilot agreement for the Route 118 intersection improvements. When the developer files his application with the IDA, he'll likely include a preliminary pilot agreement with the town, which means the town board needs to discuss the pilot terms. And that discussion, which has major financial implications for the taxpayers, must be an open session. The second issue is the renegotiation of the lease for the Yorktown stage, whose 10-year lease is expiring this year. Here again, the open meetings law and court decisions are clear. While the open meetings law does allow lease negotiations to be discussed in executive session, there's one very specific exemption. Before the lease can be discussed in closed session, the town must provide evidence that discussing it in public would substantially affect the value of the lease. Absent that evidence, any executive session discussion would be based on pure speculation and would be a violation of the open meetings law. Your town board has consistently said that you value transparency. If that's true, going forward, I ask you on behalf of all the residents of Yorktown, please comply with the open meetings law.
Thank you, Susan.
And here are the sections of 105 of the open meetings law.
Great.
I urge you to read them and look at what you are allowed to discuss.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Thanks.
Nope, go ahead.
Dan Strauss, 57-year resident.
Don't start his clock yet, Dan. I want to thank you for what you did for kids.
For who?
For kids growing up, playing the soccer and teaching them.
I'm just going to mention that I'm so old now that no one will even have me as a coach. They won't even They won't even.
Thank you what you did for the kids.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
I
I'm
think it's
Soccer
time
Dan.
away.
Did you know I'm
Soccer
Soccer
Dan.
Dan?
Yeah.
Oh,
So you can't stay as Soccer Dan?
I'm Litter Dan, Soccer Dan, all kinds of Dan.
Sign Dan?
Yeah, but
Soccer Dan I knew.
If we're sticking with sports, the one thing that you have a very famous skier behind me, a very famous ski meister. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Jenna?
Yeah, that's
She lets
Jenna.
us know
So
every chance she
maybe you should encourage the skiing in Yorktown.
YAC skiing.
YAC skiing and Shrub Oak skiing. And maybe you would have.
They're going to make you the commissioner.
Dan, you just got yourself a
No,
job.
I can't
buddy.
coach skiing. I can't coach that.
You just walked into a job.
No,
No interview needed.
Anything else? Or anything else but skiing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
God, Dan, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna just change what I was gonna say. Miss Howard,
Yes.
for the first time at a planning board meeting a few weeks ago, the big powwow. Everyone remembers the big powwow where everyone got together, all the boards and everything regarding Underhill Farm. You were the first board member in 8.5 years of me going to board meetings that went up and questioned what the developer was doing. And I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
We sit and have these meetings. It's been for Underhill Farm. It's going on for 3 years. On and on and on and on. And I still don't understand. I'm a senior. 5 years ago, this is not to do with what you were talking about. That was density.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about seniors. We are pawns. 5 years ago, everyone, when a developer came in and said market rate, everyone said, what about the seniors? As if they had no money. Now, when they come in with market rate, and tell me what a condo, a 2-bedroom townhouse at Underhill Farm is going to cost. Can anyone tell me? What are the carrying charges? 600,000, 800,000? I'll bet it's 800,000. Now, all of a sudden, all the seniors have money. They all are going to be able to sell $1 million house or $1.5 million to downsize into an $800,000 condo. I think it's just a big smokescreen. Number two, it's the density. It's not to do with that. And I know that you're going to Someone's going to say about the seniors. It's not just the seniors, it's other people. It doesn't matter about that. But it's a smokescreen. All of a sudden, we're wealthy. Everyone is wealthy now in town. 5 years ago, they had no money. So, thank you very much, though, for questioning density. What are they doing on 13.78 acres? Cut-through road, amenities, 148 units, all kinds of stuff. They are developing 80% of that, and seniors are supposed to have peace and quiet. That is in the comprehensive plan. They are building an asphalt jungle in the town of Yorktown. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Jim.
Are you gonna sing now?
Sure, I'll sing. No, Jim Pugliese, longtime resident of Yorktown. I just wanted to, in all of this, so I work right over here, right across the street, DML Mortgage. Fursies, as everyone knows, has recently
Old Anthony?
sold. Yeah. So we now have new owners who I've had the pleasure to meet. And the name of the place is going to be called Our Place. And I just was texting with Melanie and Mark, who are the owners. So they're planning on opening next Monday, June 12th. Hopefully their liquor license will be in place. If not, they're still going to open up for lunch. They've done a great job inside. They're great people and looking to really support them. Their menu, got a sneak peek at it. My daughter works there, so she's going to be working there. So I was able to get a sneak peek at the menu. It's really, I think it's going to be great for this town. The food looks fantastic. They are both all about service and community and family. So I think it's going to be great, and I think it'll be good for our town, and I think we should all go out and support it. So thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
BJ, you're limping.
Can I have his remaining minutes?
You want his remaining minutes? What do you got?
Marley Associates. Looks very familiar to you,
Let me see.
Supervisor. All right, Patrick Comiskey, Horton Road, Mohegan Lake, Vice Chair, Parks and Rec Department. So I have I'm going to talk fast because I got two very serious issues I want to talk about. And I don't have too much time. So the first one, I give you a handout. There's two pieces. The first one, it's an engineering report. I'm not going to use names or anything. I highlighted a lot of sections I want you guys to read. One thing I didn't highlight, that date, August 8th, 2019. So to give everybody a brief history, for those of you that don't know, most of you do, there was an incident that I found out about with my connections in the industry when they were doing the drilling. Developed sinkholes. I knew there was going to be an issue. So when you read this report, there's a thing called the town officials. So just call me town officials. So I'm just going to read a couple of quick things. At the time of this report, it is our opinion that the ground above the bore path in Legacy Field has been stabilized with respect to catastrophic large-scale collapse events, such as the holes that were observed during the horizontal directional drilling construction. So next page. Different subsurface testing methods were assessed prior to selecting the test boring method, including seismic reflection and refraction, ground penetrating radar, cone pentrometer, microgravity, and geomagnetic. Past experience with these techniques in this particular type of soil and the target depth of the drill path have not been proven as effective as a test boring that both penetrates an entire soil column at a test location and provides physical samples of the penetrated soil. So turn the page a couple bit to this one. This is the driller's report, and this showed you where he did 4 borings back in 2019. If you look at boring number 2, it's about 50 feet away from the sinkhole that we had. So, second thing, I never got a copy of this. I've only got a picture of it. This is the letter that we got from our good friends at the gas line that were gracious enough to give us $1 million. So, what did they do for their testing? Ground penetrating radar, microgravity, electric resistivity. So, nowhere in this report, there's a big part of this. So, in this report, we have an engineer, stamped and signed, telling us that our place is safe, that we're not going to have these sinkholes. The only reason we got this report because I knew this was going to happen. And some of people can attest, I was very adamant then. I was told I didn't know what I was talking about, And I got sent to a meeting with 25 attorneys and engineers and me, where I got to see this report. So it happened on Christmas, as we all know. We all dealt with it. We took care of it. So during all the meetings that we had, we were promised an engineering report with the results of all this testing that they did. We got $1 million in a letter. I want the engineering report that we were promised. I'm asking the town board to demand it. Next, bigger issue for me. Our system for the developer's responsibility as relates to the impact of development on our way overstressed parks resources is broken. There's ambiguity throughout our town code. I can go through, I've already out, come on. What types of development zones are any recreational responsibility? An example, we recently have a transition zone right now that has no recreational responsibility at all, but is going to add more people to this town and going to add more stress on our resources. When is a fee applicable? Versus an open space patches of grass being considered recreational amenities? When are the fees for such things as subdivision, multifamily? What are the fees for such things as subdivisions, multifamily units, rental units versus a deeded unit? All sorts of things throughout our code that is ambiguous. This town is an amazing place to live, and what attracts and keeps people here are the schools and parks. We don't have a train station, and we don't have an ocean or bayfront, but Mohegan Lake does rule. The town code has to be clarified that a recreational fee is due no matter the particulars of the development. The only group that should be able to waive that fee is this town board under extreme circumstances or something related to what they're going to develop. I want to be very clear. I have nothing but the utmost respect for every single member of the planning board. They are volunteers that take a lot of crap that they don't deserve, both in the newspaper and at a lot of their meetings, and they do what they think is best for the town, and I applaud them for all their efforts. I'm not trying to take away any of their purview or their authority. I'm only trying to insulate them from one of the controversial things that they always have to deal with as far as recreational fees, and hopefully they don't have to deal with me anymore. So they deal with thousands of projects all the time since I've been in this town, and some of them are incredible, like this recent one, obviously, as everybody knows. It's incredible how people get involved in this. Ultimately, making a change in our town code so that somebody knows when they come into this town, they're paying a rec fee for their development and not making ambiguous, no longer having any ambiguity in the code, the taxpayers are going to win. So there's a lot of things in this town most of you are aware of, a lot of the town people don't know they're aware of. We have a lot of work to do on our parks. The parks and our schools are what bring people to this town. That's what makes this place a great place to grow up and a great place to grow old. So you guys talked about earlier about all these opportunities and keeping kids off the street with YAC and the great job that they do, and SOAC and YYSC. Not having a park to go play in, not having somewhere to bring your kids, not having a place to walk around for things like that, are beautiful facilities that are going to have repair. Right now, we have to come to you guys to get money for our replacement of the turf. Even though we had our best efforts with the turf replacement fees, it's not enough. We knew it wasn't going to be enough. Now our cover is going to be empty, and about 6 years from now, we're going to have to replace that turf at Granite, and we're not going to have the money for it. So these are the things that this is intended for, and it's either make a burden of the taxes that we have on our taxpayers, or make it a burden of the developers that want to add things to add to population and add strain to our resources. That's it. Thank you for
Pat.
your time.
Thanks, Pat.
Which hat do we have on, Ken?
Ken Belfer, President, Mohegan Lake Improvement
All right.
You asked about Lake Day. It's July 15th.
There
Rain
you
Day,
go.
July 16th. More information to come soon when we finalize the schedule. We have a lot of things going on, it seems, at the moment. But let me just start by saying people have thanked various town departments. I can't believe the number of people that I've worked with and been helped with on Mohegan Lake Improvement District things, from the call 6:30 Friday night from Supervisor Diana, all the times I've been talking to Adam Rodriguez today with Dave Paganelli, the comptroller. I'm always bugging Jana. Parks and Rec Department. So we appreciate all the support from the town. Our first lake treatment of the season was today with a product called Earth Tech So we're hopeful that we can kind of get a little ahead of blue-green algae, but that remains to be seen. A number of us went to a lake conference, the New York State Federation of Lake Associations, the first weekend in May. And I was a presenter this year, and there was a gentleman who sat in on my presentation and then spoke with me afterwards. And it's turned into a great partnership. He happens to be from the SUNY College of Environmental Science and Forestry, Dr. Gregory Boyer. He also happens to be the director of the Great Lakes Research Consortium, which is something like 27 universities. And his specialty is in algae and toxins produced by algae. So the main thing that's came out of that relationship is we're getting a buoy. Now you may think, what's the big deal? You can go to any marine supply place and get a little buoy. This is actually a monitoring buoy that monitors 24/7 what's going on with oxygen and temperature from the surface of the lake down to the bottom of the lake. Why is it important? We're about to install, and we're very busy preparing for the installation of a new aeration system. And there are performance guarantees with that, and we need to be able to assess if it's effective. So he has submitted a grant proposal for funding to do a research project related to the impact of aeration, and Mohegan Lake is what he's going to study, and that's partly why we're getting this monitoring buoy. I have to drive up to Binghamton. He's driving down to Syracuse, and he's going to do a handoff for the buoy Thursday. So we should have it in the lake within a week. Aeration installation should commence June 19th. We're monitoring the lake water weekly and have been for a few weeks, looking at it under the microscope. He also sent me a microscope. You probably can't see this, but the arrows in the green, this was the first water sample we sent up to SUNY ESF, and it came back with minimal blue-green algae thus far, but that's early in the season. But this time last year, we were not doing this well. Go figure. And we'll have to be sending 3 samples a week as part of this partnership, shipping them up to Syracuse. So our water will be monitored more than it's ever been. But that's a good thing. We want to know what's going on and how effective what we're doing is. Last of all, we have a stormwater phosphorus mitigation design study that's funded by a grant from DEC that's underway right now. So we're hoping that within a few months we're actually going to get some designs that we could then turn around and work with the town to get funding to reduce the phosphorus coming into the lake.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Sounds great.
You'll have you'll like something that's in the agenda here that you probably already saw.
Yes, I'm counting on it.
Hey, I promised you. Oh, no, it's Sarah Wilson. Hello, Sarah.
Good evening. I just wanted to thank you, Supervisor Diana, for your remarks about the Garden of Hope and trying to get volunteers to come out, because we really do need a good number of people to really help the garden develop and continue to produce and be as productive as possible to be able to produce food for our food pantries. There's something for everyone. Again, even if you're not physically that capable, you can water, you can weed, you can mow, you can build up the beds, you can plant, you can, hopefully soon we'll be harvesting, and that's always great. And we're going to be harvesting healthy food. And thanks especially to our highway department. I appreciated when you said you're going to try to get that mulch transported over into the garden so that we can build up the beds. And so we appreciate all that the highway department has done in the past 2 years. So this is our 3rd year, and it's great to hear that we'll get mulch and, again, some more soil and wood chips and stuff like that. So
I know
that
the
we can
leaves are
continue.
important.
Yeah, and as you said, we have to keep building up. And, at the end of the season, after winter, everything sort of settles down. So every year we have to build it back up. So, again, just appreciate your getting the word out and reminding people that we're there every week, and just show up and we'll put you to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay. One more.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to say, being that May was Mental Health Awareness
Gotta
Month.
state your name
Oh,
and-
sorry. Jan Mirchandani. I don't know, don't I have to say how many years? 20 years? 20-year resident. Being that May was Mental Health Awareness Month and that we're celebrating EMS Week, this week I wanted to start by thanking those that serve our community by caring for others. As we speak, sadly, our neighbors in Peekskill are mourning the death of a 10-year-old boy that was bullied and the impact that made on his well-being. There's been considerable media attention given to the increase in anxiety and other mental health issues that so many of us are dealing with. There's also a deep well of research that shows that our mental health and our physical health are directly linked, and medical professionals now refer to what we call wraparound care that addresses the whole person. And just as we don't expect those who are dealing with diabetes or asthma to just kind of tough it out, we really shouldn't be expecting those who are dealing with mental and behavioral health issues to just be toughing it out. So with that in mind, I wanted to just share some information with people in case they find themselves in need of help. We have right here in town Alliance for Safe Kids. There's a wealth of information. I know you all know them very, very well. Their website is allianceforsafekids.org. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. That's NAMI, NAMI.org. And the suicide hotline is 988. They also have a website, 988lifeline.org. Fortunately now, we're talking more openly about mental health and behavioral health issues, especially for our children and our first responders and our vets. So I just wanted to highlight that and, again, thank those who serve our community. So thank you all.
Thanks, Jan. Okay, could I get a motion to close courtesy of the floor?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, just real briefly, the members of the town board and our community's other boards and commissions are committed to transparency and open government. This is why we devote so much time to public discussion and public hearings. All of us recognize that there's a great deal of public interest and future in the Underhill Farm property, formerly the Soundview Preparatory School. We want to emphasize that the plan currently under review has not received approvals from the Planning Board or Westchester County Industrial Development Agency, the IDA. We encourage anyone interested in the proposal to attend the Planning Board public hearing this Thursday, June 8th.
Sorry.
That's okay. At 7 p.m. at the Community Center. And the IDA hearing is not yet scheduled. As you consider the proposal, it is worth noting that the Soundview School was tax exempt. The proposed use will generate millions of dollars in new tax revenues to our town and schools. It will rebuild the dangerous Route 118 intersection and will preserve an important piece of our history, the Underhill House. We appreciate and respect everyone's interest and look forward to continuing the dialogue that reflects each citizen's opinion. This is what makes Yorktown the great community we all love to call home. Thank you, and I want to thank everybody for your comments. All will be taken under consideration and reviewed. Thank you so much. Anybody have anything?
I just want a little clarification on the 485B. It's funny because there was a mention of the building next to on Veterans Road. The 485B tax exemption does not give away any tax dollars that are existing to the town. In fact, what it does, it encourages businesses to renovate. And then when the taxes are reassessed and the improvement cost is added into the taxes, they get a discount on those that dissipates by 5% each year. So we don't lose any taxes, give away taxes. Matter of fact, we gain the first year half of the new tax with a 5% decrease each year after that. And then with the statement about, the new businesses coming in, the building in particular that you mentioned, Mr. Killian, is under a big renovation because the people sold to a new owner who realizes that space is not going to be functional as it is, and it encourages them to now dress up their building, otherwise they will not have any renters. So the tax assessment will go up on that building. It'll generate more taxes. If they apply for the 485B, because not everyone does, they will then get a discount on the additional taxes, 50% the first year, 45% the second, and dissipating over 10 years. So it's actually a way to encourage that growth and encourage the improvement of the properties. So I think that's a really, really important thing. And also to take note, it's really not our law, so we can't change it. It's actually New York State law that we voted to accept in the town. So, you know, it is a New York State law, and we felt back, I think it's probably 6 or 7 years ago, that it was a great law to bring in to improve that. So that was all for my
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Anybody else got anything?
Yeah, just about the one way on Halleck's Mill. I mean, you know what, Jay, you were right. I mean, you know, the world didn't end when they were working on it. You know, so maybe that's something we could bring back up. And I understand, Mark, that the traffic and people are like using the stop sign almost like a yield sign. I mean, it's kind of, well, of course, but I mean, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, control every single individual. So, you know, maybe that idea coupled with more enforcement, and we did vote a second traffic officer, safety officer in the town some time ago for that reason, to kind of, you know, go around and get more patrols out there relating to traffic, because there are a lot of incidents. People do speed. You're never going to stop that, but that's why we, you know, in the vein of quality of life, we decided that we wanted to add an additional traffic safety officer, and we did, right?
Yes, we did.
I know that I keep reading about us fast tracking everything. And Dan, I'm glad you brought it up, because it has been 3 years with Underhill. And so I just don't understand, nothing against you, because I'm just bringing up what you had mentioned, how we're fast tracking something that's been going on for 3 years. So, you know, I don't like to get involved in the nuances, but, you know, it did ring true to me. You know, it has been 3 years. And so I don't understand where we get fast track in 3 years, you know, in the same vein, that they equal each other. I don't think it's being fast tracked at all. And then I just wanted to, I didn't know about the mulch and all of that stuff. So, you know, great job on that.
Thank
you. You know, yeah, I mean, we are committed to people's quality of life here. And that's what we do, evidenced by a lot of the stuff that we try, the volunteer stuff that we all do, and the ideas that, you know, supervisors trying to help the garden, and you know, and we support pretty much any kind of event that comes to this town. I wanted to make one more point. Yeah, so I also keep hearing about how we lost money. We lost $5 million, but it's a very glass half empty approach, because what I want to know is, I want to know the number. Aside, we could talk about losses, but what about what have we gained by these tax breaks that we did do to encourage development, to improve the quality of life for people? So, you know, I don't hear the number that we've gained, because the tax breaks are coming on tax increases that development is coming in. Underhill Farm, I haven't decided, to be quite honest, how I'm going with that. But Underhill Farm is bringing in, potentially, over $1 million in brand new tax revenue. The last time we collected taxes on Underhill Farm was 1989, I believe. And so when we say where we're giving them away, we're giving taxes away, the last 5 years we gave $5 million, $2 million, where is the number about how much revenue it's actually brought in tax-wise? I never hear that number. And I think that's curious. Thank you.
In that vein, I done a little research, Sergio. There's about 6 incentives that are out there. We're down to about the 30 to 50 percentile on where they've paid everything back at this point. And it costs $3.20 plus or minus per taxpayer for that particular incentive. So it's interesting with those particular numbers that it's not as grand as it's being made out to be. 100% right. Luch?
Okay, so I just want to circle back as thank you for acknowledging my stand-up. I do want to let you know that I think I tried very hard to understand that rec fee, which Pat obviously was speaking of, is a big concern to me, and how we use it and how we take care of our open space out of that. That's a big deal. The side meetings, Susan, I just want to ask, I don't really understand that, the hidden meetings behind disclosures. I'll reread the open law, but I can assure you, unfortunately, I shoot really from my hip all the time. So there's nothing that I haven't said that was ever discussed really in closed. So, but I will definitely look into that because I owe you that explanation. As far as the garden goes, going back to what Jan said about mental health, our gut has a huge effect on our mental well-being. And I think that supporting Garden of Hope and just teaching people what wellness is and the chemicals that are out there and how they respond to our bodies is super important. Pat, I noted your desire to get the engineer report. I will follow up with that and make sure you get an engineer report. And that is pretty much it.
Miss Mary?
Thank you.
You're good? Okay.
If I may.
Yes, you may.
Just some general responses, I guess, and comments in response to the vague allegations of violations of the open meetings law. I just want to throw out 2 general propositions that are... I'm just going to throw out 2 general propositions in response to the vague allegations made about the violation of the open meetings law. Number 1, meetings between staff, developers, attorneys, and attorneys, really anything that's not a quorum of the board and anyone outside the town is not subject to the open meetings law, number 1. Number 2, conversations with counsel about legal issues involved in a decision are exempt from the open meetings law as well. So, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. Dave? Nothing.
No, I think I'd be curious to know which of the pilot programs you were referring to that resulted in $3 per tax resident.
For 10,000.
Also, I would like to know, from Sergio's point, why don't we know what these figures are, how much we saved? I mean, isn't that what we're supposed to know? I would think, right? That's all.
Just one last point about the Parks and Rec law with the donation and the contribution. We're already actively working on that. You know, we've had some preliminary kind of talks about individually about that the law is ambiguous. I won't say broken. It's very ambiguous, and so we do want to come to some kind of point where it's better structured, better worded, even with the ethics law. I mean, I know we keep getting accused that we're ignoring this and ignoring that, whatever, but the point is that even with the ethics law, our ethics code is horribly written, and so it does need to be looked at. But as far as the recreational fees and all the zones and all of that stuff, we are committed to looking at that, and the sooner we, as a board, get to a point where we could come up with a law that makes more sense, the quicker we can have a clear understanding for a developer when he comes in. It's A or B, and it's not A, maybe B, maybe C, not D, maybe B, and so we are trying to clean that up.
Yeah, it's going to be a price per door, and we're also going to start taking into consideration with any increased housing, the infrastructure, and I'm not just talking about the pipes that are buried in the ground, I'm talking about our schools, talking about I'm talking about our EMS, I'm talking about our fire, I'm talking about our police. So in that same structure, we're probably gonna have to do it per door on whatever it is. Let's say, I'm just gonna use a number, of
X, just say X. 'Cause you're gonna
okay, and it's gotta be broken up. That X has to be broken up into several different, buckets, so. All right, so that is that. That's all we got for courtesy and the answers back. Okay, we're gonna move on to resolutions. From the Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center, authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfers for the Building and Maintenance Department. It'll be from General Fund Capital Contingency, be $3,024.09 to Capital Projects, Town Building, $3,024.09. Can I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, from our Highway Department, authorize comptroller to process the following budget transfer for the Highway Department. We're gonna take $40,000 from highway salaries into $40,000 of highway overtime.
I love to argue this. Sergio's shaking his head. No.
No?
Say
No? Okay, no, okay.
Okay, wait, let me respond then.
Authorize
I've been
extension.
planning on that.
Authorize extension of bid with Rayal Tree Care Company for the removal services for the town of Yorktown for the additional year per the term of the bid. Okay, could I have a motion on those two?
Second.
So let me,
All in favor?
mind.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me, again, I've done this before, and this isn't blowing smoke, but you guys last year, 2 years ago, actually in 2021, for the first time, ever allocated any money to taking care of the over 5,800 acres of open space that we have in this town. Okay, and that's this company, because a lot of, I would say 80% of the work that they do is works that are in our parks department and our open space that we can't get to with our bucket truck. So kudos to you guys for, continuing to support that in spite of tight budgetary constraints. So
Thanks,
I
Dave.
appreciate it. So I'm just buttering you up in case you got to come back for more money.
I knew something was coming there, okay.
Sounded
Okay, from the Mohegan Lake Improvement District, authorize comptroller to process the following budget transfer for the Mohegan Lake Improvement District. So it'll be, from Mohegan Lake Improvement District, $81,000 to special projects, and then from special projects, building to special projects of $7,000, and then from services of $7,265 to special projects of $7,265. Okay, could I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Got it, Ken.
You got it, Ken. From Parks Department, authorized purchase of a sports cluster system under Sourcewell purchase contract number 071619-MLS in the amount not to exceed $130,950 from Musco Sports Lighting LLC.
This is great right here.
We need the lights.
Yep, we got the lights, folks, for the fields. Okay, can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, from the Police Department, authorize hiring 2 permanent police officers to staff school resource officer vacancies. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, from the town attorney, authorize the supervisor to execute agreement with Capture Point LLC for Community Pass Enterprise software. Authorize the supervisor to enter into a school resource officer agreement with Yorktown Central School District for the years 2023 through 2027. And we're going to award the electrical bid on town buildings, which is going to go to Hanover Electric.
Great.
Can I have a motion on those?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. From the clerk, authorize the town clerk to advertise for a public hearing to consider a proposed local law amending Chapter 300 of the Code of the Town of Yorktown entitled Zoning, Section 13F, by amending and replacing it in its entirety. Authorize the town clerk to advertise public hearing to consider amending Chapter 15 of the Town Code of the Town of Yorktown entitled Building Construction Administration by deleting Section 15-4B10 in its entirety and renaming Sections 15-4B11 and 15-4B12 as Sections 15-4B10 and 15-4B11.
Can you say that again?
No, I will not. You want me to do it a little quicker?
Three times
Okay,
fast.
and now we're going to authorize the town clerk once again to authorize a public hearing to consider an application received from MJM Land Development Corp. For property located at 3232 Gomer Street to authorize the planning board to process a subdivision utilizing flexibility standards. May I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. From the town engineer, authorized purchase of a Mark III Sonic Analyzer Kit from the Film Tech Corporation for a total cost of $1,397.80. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Supervisor, is the Mark III Sonic Analyzer Kit for Flash Gordon?
No, that's for
because
Fla-
we have the cluster thing also.
We have the cluster thing with Flash Gordon, and that's for Flash Dan, actually, okay? We got two more.
Flash Dan.
Flash Dan. The 2.0 Flash Dan, no matter. Be it resolved that Sonia M. Mahia is hereby appointed food service helper, job class 0305-05, within the nutrition/senior service department, effective June 19th, 2023, to be paid from Yorktown CSEA salary schedule A, Group 2, which is $37,293 annually. And be it resolved that Jake Vaccaro is hereby promotionally appointed motor equipment operator, job class code 0427-02, within the water department, effective June 19th, 2023, to be paid from the CSEA salary schedule A, Group 10, Step 3, which is $63,491 annually. And be it further resolved that this appointment is subject to a probationary period of not more than 12 weeks, commencing on the first date of appointment on June 19th, 2023. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye. Good night, Yorktown.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Well, I'm waiting.
Aye.
I'm waiting.
Aye. I don't know when I'm supposed to say these things.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Night, Yorktown.
That's what I'm saying.
Night.
She's saying we have a meeting. I'm thinking like.